Let me ask you this. What's the last game you played with your friends? I'm willing to bet that for 80% of you, the answer is one of these. Now, if you answered literally anything else, congratulations, you are very special, but for everybody else, how was I able to predict the games you last played with your friends with a list of 10, considering there are thousands of new games being released every year? It's one of gaming's biggest problems, and I haven't heard many people talking about it. No one is playing new games. But before we begin, I will be talking about live service games a lot in this video, so if you don't know exactly what that is, here is the definition. Games as a service are ways to monetize video games either after their initial sale or to support a free-to-play model. Games released under the Games as a Service model typically receive a long or indefinite stream of monetized new content over time to encourage players to continue paying to support the game. This often leads to games that work under the Games as a Service model to be called living games, live games, or live service games, since they continually change with these updates. So, I'm sure that if on your travels through the YouTube jungle of recommended slop you found your way here, you are most likely a gamer. Like, a gamer that's actually active in the gaming community. You probably love to learn more about new genres and styles, you keep up with gaming and tech news to a decent extent, and the games you play might not actually match the list I first displayed. However, I am almost certain that if you have friends, those friends have at least asked you to play one of those games on that list with them. If not again, then oh my god, you're actually so special. And also, how haven't you played Minecraft yet? Are you okay? I mentioned that fact to protect myself from the eventual misunderstandings of,
that's false. I have never felt like playing those games. I don't like free-to-play live service multiplayer experiences. I'm very happy with the gaming industry, actually, and games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom were amazing experiences that released just last year.
And you'd be right, they are awesome! And obviously, saying no one is playing new games at all is an overstatement. But believe it or not, if all you got into were games like Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom or other big single-player titles, for as big as they were, you are a minority. Let's actually get into this video's data, and I'm about to show you a very worrying graph. Now, this article is from earlier in the year, but the data presented remains true today, and will for a long time probably. A newly released game industry report by market researcher Newzoo shows that while the PC and console market grew 2.6% in 2023, overall playtime decreased as gamers spent more and more time on a smaller list of old games like Fortnite and League of Legends. On April 2nd, 2024, Kotaku published an article regarding research done by market researcher Newzoo to determine the top 10 most popular games rated by monthly active users on the 4 major gaming platforms, and this is what they got. Games ranking in the top 10 by monthly average users are over 7 years old on average and generally fall into one of 4 categories. Well, that's a bit screwed up. First thing we notice looking at the graph is the Fortnite supremacy. It being the most played game on every single platform, including the Nintendo Switch. I am so sorry. But the main thing to notice here is that the list is absolutely flooded by free-to-play live service games. In fact, I mapped it out. Out of the 40 slots available, 18 of them are occupied by solely free-to-play live service. And if you include paid live service as well, that number jumps to a whopping 32 out of 40. And that's not even mentioning what the data is actually trying to demonstrate, which is these games, these live service games dominating the industry, are old. On PC, the average gamer is playing a decade-old game. On Xbox and PlayStation, a 7-year-old game. The only platform to mostly escape this trend is the Nintendo Switch. I'll get to that later. But why is this a problem? After all, if players are happy to play these games for years, they are just good games. And the industry should just make better, more attractive options to win over gamers and stop focusing on live service slop and microtransactions that are ruining our games and... oh wait. Oh yeah, the gaming community loves to complain about microtransactions and pay to win and unfair business practices and crunch and this and that's all great, but the data shows people aren't actually leaving live service games. They're just not getting into the new ones. Live service games are not only competing for your money like your average game, they're competing for your time. Your precious, limited time on this earth. Once you've picked your poison, the more you play it, the harder it becomes to leave. It's like a drug. Let's take Fortnite for example. You want to play with your friends, but you have a Nintendo Switch. You like Splatoon 3 and Mario Kart, and you would love to play with them, but one of your friends has an Xbox, another two have PlayStations, and there's always that one who just plays on their phone, and someone else that swears by God himself that the PC is the best thing ever and would never play on a filthy console. Well, let's play Fortnite. You can join up from your phone, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, or PC. It's free everywhere, so you can just download it and give it a shot. Suddenly, it's the get-together game. Whenever your friend group wants to play something, Fortnite is often not the first choice you'd like to go with, but now, it's the only choice that works. And it's getting harder to leave. You end up liking the game. You have fun with your friends, and as the years go by, you buy a battle pass here and there. Some cool skins, join up for events. The game is always updating, so there's always gonna be something new to do. 4 years later, you are officially locked in. And not in a good sense. You've spent a couple $100s on this game by now, so even if a new battle royale that's better in every way comes around, you've accumulated so much on Fortnite that switching now just feels like a waste. And it does not help if some of your friends fell into the same trap with you. Now, you've become someone that chooses to use the limited time you have for games and the increasingly rarer opportunities to play with friends on Fortnite, or any other live service that promotes this exact same trap. You're spending your money on a less diverse set of games, less sales are going to indie developers, to new franchises, to cool new releases you might once have given a fair shot to, but that new skin looks cool and your friend has it already. One can only choose one or maybe two games to invest themselves in, and these greedy gaming corporations will keep making live service garbage with the hope that maybe, just maybe, their game will be the one that people choose. But, as we've seen, that gets harder the more time passes and other games firmly establish themselves as the go-to alternatives. Using Fortnite as an example again, it Robloxified itself. Fortnite is now more of a platform to host many different creator-made experiences and not just a battle royale experience. It's the all-in-one package. Why would you leave? We actually saw this trend continue in this year's Summer Games Fest presentations. Sony opened its showing with a multiplayer hero shooter live service game. Xbox showed off another live service multiplayer shooter, and there are more of them on the way. Even you, Valve? Wow. It would take a cataclysmic mess up to kill a game like Minecraft or League of Legends now. You see these people online saying, "Insert big game here is dying." Yeah, no. None of the live services on this list are going anywhere anytime soon. And with how expensive AAA games are becoming to produce, there is even less incentive to try and make the next big single-player game or paid multiplayer game with no battle passes and live service, unless you're Nintendo. Back to the data, we can see that only 8 out of the 40 slots are filled by paid, non-live service games, and 7 of them are on the Switch. And Starfield is only there because of Game Pass and no other reason. I am so sorry, Starfield fans, all 4 of you. So pretty much the only platform where the old model of purchasing a game and playing it is still the main way of experiencing games is the Nintendo Switch. Why is that? Well, exclusives. Obviously, Nintendo is the only console manufacturer that still relies on them. Yes, even Sony is moving away from that model. If you want the Mario, you buy the Mario, you play the Mario, and Mario make you happy. That's Nintendo. It's simple, but it doesn't explain the continuous support those games are receiving. With many other AAAs, even if widely successful like Elden Ring, their player bases are never enough to top the charts on the systems they're on. But with Nintendo's AAA offerings, suddenly they're not only on the list for their new AAA releases, but also somehow for decade-old full-price games as well. And not only that, Hogwarts Legacy, the only full-price AAA non-live service game to make it into the list, Starfield is only there because of Game Pass, is also on Switch. Despite that being arguably the worst way to play the title, leading me to believe that it's not just Nintendo's games that are being played more on Switch. If we could see a bigger list, I wonder if more third-party AAAs would be showing up too. I think it's just due to Nintendo being weird. Like, you don't have access to massive multiplayer AAAs often on Switch. Their online services only give you access to old games and not modern titles like the other two. So the player base is just inherently different than from anywhere else. The approach that Nintendo takes, being behind on tech, made competitive players not consider Nintendo, and those make a relatively big part of the player base of some of the most popular live service titles. I wonder if this trend will continue with Nintendo following their next console's release. It has a big chance of catching up pretty well in terms of performance, and maybe that'll end up giving a Nintendo console access to all these games in a way that their players aren't disadvantaged. And if so, will this break Nintendo's consumers' tendencies and lead them closer to the rest of the gaming industry? Well, only time will tell. Expect AAAs by Sony and Xbox to go multi-platform to try and counteract the effects of live service dominance and rising development costs, and don't expect companies to stop trying to make their own always online multiplayer live services anytime soon. Although, maybe if they lose enough money, they'll wake up. They just don't seem to learn, do they? That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. Remember, these are all just ideas and predictions based on data, yes, but not the truest meaning of everything. If you've enjoyed this style of discussion, here's this video of me on the future of the gaming industry. If you like this, you will love that one too. Thank you again, don't forget to subscribe, have a wonderful day, goodbye!